Okay, there's 3 more people that had signed up, but maybe they're hanging out or in line somewhere down the stairs, but we're going to go ahead and get started so we can make good use of everybody's time. Right?
The bank, right there by the bank is like the rest of us right now.
I know it is. It's terrible. So, please join me. I'm going to talk a little bit about our featured speaker for today. Coach Christine Clark has forged her life in the fires of self-employment. Christine brings over 55 years combined entrepreneurial experience to her clients. She addresses the internal, mental, and emotional blocks that stand between us and a life of significance. She is the coach for your entrepreneurial life. And a gifted, engaging speaker and trainer, Christine connects authentically with the room. Addressing the harder challenges that limit potential, she leads people to their greatness. She is the creator of Forging a Life, a fascinating approach to understanding the factors that make us exceptional, i.e. what's in our steel, and how to construct a life of flow, function, and beauty. Christine holds several coaching certifications, including Ignite, Breakthrough Coach, Neuro-Linguistic Programming Coach, Neurotransformational Results Coach, Motivating the Masses Platinum Partner Personal Development Coach, and Elite Success Systems Master Coach. Please join me in welcoming Christine.
Thank you. Love that. I haven't actually been introduced with all my accolades. It's like, ooh, that's good. I love that. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here today. This is fun. This is what I love doing. Anybody that hears me speak gets a free coaching session. So this is for you to put down your name and number and your information, and then I'll follow up and we'll have a one-on-one. Absolutely free. Work on anything that you want to work on. So we're doing running on E, adding energy and passion to your work and life today. So yeah, I'm just going to flip. And I'm Christine Clark. My company is Sunglow Transformation. And I want to share just a little bit about who I am and what I do. I became a full-time coach in July of 2015, so I'm going on 6 years. And in subject for what we're talking about today, passion and energy, one of the biggest, most significant steps I made in my life was a very passionate choice. It was when I decided to jump off the corporate ladder and go into entrepreneurship. And that was over 27 years ago. And yeah, come on in. Yeah. And I was an underwriter at Allied Group Insurance, which is now nationwide. I started doing some direct sales, put a little more extra money in my wallet. I was also working 50 plus, 60 plus hours every week at that corporate job. My husband and I decided we probably should have kids. It was like, you want to? Yeah, we probably should. I was totally ambivalent about having children. I was the 9th woman in the underwriting department that to be pregnant. And so every month or so, someone would go away on maternity leave and they'd bring their newborn bundle of joy in. Even when I was pregnant out here, it's like, no, I'm good. Yeah, no. When that kid came out, the mommy button came on. Poof. It was like, I understand. Yes. This is what I wanted. I also knew that I did not want to be working 60 plus hours a week with that kid being raised by somebody else. And so I had started my direct sales business. And my direct sales business was about here as far as income, and my salary was up here. But I was passionate about something. I was passionate about being a work from home mom. So I jumped off. No parachute, no golden, what do they call it, golden handcuffs, all the way, because that was the more important thing. So passion can get us to do some really exciting, fun, and sometimes scary things. But we have swum, we have treaded water, we have ridden the waves for going on 20, that kid's going to be 27 this year. And we've been doing it. My husband is also a solo entrepreneur, so this is what we're into. So what I want to do is, my goal today is for you to have something that you can take home. just something that you can grab and goes with you after this conversation today. If we were doing a training, I would probably spend a full 2 hours on what we're going to cover today. So I'm going to go kind of quickly. You have in front of you the worksheet that goes along with this, with the questions to fill out. And as I'm talking, if something clicks with you, if a light bulb comes on, go ahead and take time to write it down. Don't worry about not paying attention to me, because I'll know what's going on. I'd rather you captured it in the moment than try to be polite and pay attention and have it not be there later. Also, we're recording this, and so it's going to be on YouTube, and you're going to have a link that you can go back, watch this, and work on your worksheet. Okay, so we're good? All right, so first of all, you have to have a vision. You have to know what you're going for. What does your life look like if you have passion? What does your life look like if you have energy? And it gives you something to shoot for. And it also is that piece that when you have that and you recognize it, it's like, oh, look at what I was able to do. You achieve it. So you recognize the accomplishment. And that's really important. So we want to define passion. Passion is a big word. It's a very energetic word. And the thing about passion is when we look at society, people talk about, passion. Well, look at all these words that are synonymous with passion: emotion, fervor, outrage, right? Anger, and it's a really big emotion. And it's that thing that can light you up. It's the thing that can go, yeah, let's do this. But you can't live there. You can't live on the ceiling. You're going to wear out and you're going to burn out. So what we want to do is bring passion into something that you can handle, manage, that's a part of your life that gives you fulfillment. Does that make sense? So talk about it. So what does it look, what does your life look like when you have energy? What does your life look like when you have passion? For me, when I am doing content creation, like I'm writing for my blog and it feels like it's a download and I'm writing, that is when I'm in my zone. That's when I'm passionate and I have a lot of energy around that. Also, when my 2 sons are home and my husband is home, and I have all my men around the table, that is a lot. So for me, this is a big part of what my life looks like with energy and passion. Some of you, there might be something. This person, diving for the ball, energetic, athletic, that's not me. No, that's not me. That's not my life with energy and passion, but it might be yours. So what you want to do is pick for yourself. When I work with my client, I start with where they're at, and we define what things mean for them, and then that's what we work towards. So, what drains our energy? What are the things that siphon off our energy? Go ahead and click conflict. Conflict will take away our energy, especially conflict in relationships. When you're butting heads with somebody, when things are not going well. I don't know about you, but if I have an altercation with somebody and I'm kind of, even when that person's gone off, I'm all by myself, they're not even here, guess what I'm doing? I'm rerunning it. I'm picking out the things that they said that, ooh, and how I should have said and what I wanted to say. And next thing I know, I've burned up time, but I've also burned up my own energy. Okay. Other things, overwhelm. When things are just too much, that drains our energy. I remember in my first year of direct sales, I was in a thing called a pace setters. I was working 60 plus hours at my corporate job, trying to slide this in. And in that group, the woman that was doing our training got to like the 5th thing that we were supposed to do in a week. And I felt my whole self just kind of crumble. It's like, there's no way. I don't have time. I can't do all that. That'll suck up your energy. Stress. We all know stress is something that siphons up, takes our energy. Now the thing about stress is it can be big and we can feel it and we can know it and we're in it. But stress is also something that can be there present, and it's kind of a low level thing that's just constant. Especially if maybe, like my husband and I, we are rewriting our relationship because we are now empty nesters. And that's a lot of cool stuff, it's a lot of work, and sometimes there is low-level irritation, and we're trying to figure it out. And that stress is like pulling that thread on that sweater, and it's going to keep unraveling. And it's something you might not even recognize as happening, but it's there, and it's taken away the energy. Okay, indecision. What am I going to do? Do I pick door number 1, door number 2, door number 4, number 18? Yeah. What door? Decision. Because if you'll notice, when you are looking at all your options and you're trying to decide what's the best one, what's the right path for me, is this going to work out, is this not going to work out, it's like, and then you start spinning, right? But once you decide, that's the one, that's what I'm going to do, then all of a sudden, boom, you have clarity, you have focus, and the energy comes carrying you forward. I don't know if you've recognized that that's happened for yourself when, trying to decide what's going on, and all of a sudden somebody says, oh, let's do this. You go, yeah, let's do that. It's like, it's decided. Yay, now we can go. Yeah. And then when whatever isn't working, doesn't matter whether it's an inanimate object, when the computer and the technology is working, yay, when it's not, like, want to tear my hair out. So whatever it is, when something's not working, I got some glass here, it's like, yeah, I've been there, know that, right? That is one of those things that steals from us. So, okay. Contributing factors. The women of vision do a really lovely job about talking to us about our health and our wellness and our wholeness. And so food choices play into your energy levels. Lack of physical activity plays into it. You got to get up, you got to move around, you got to get your blood moving to have some energy. And, being short on sleep or rest is also part of the energy. For me, I used to have a cycle that I would get into, and I would be tired, and then I would be in this, I'm tired and I want to take a nap, but no, I got to be getting something done. And I want to take a nap, but I should be getting something done. And then I would tell myself that the reason that I want to take a nap is because I was avoiding getting those things done. And then I would get in this thing and I beat myself up and I go, right? Until I didn't get anything done, but I didn't get rest for hours. So what does lethargy cost? That's the question that we want to answer. We go about our lives, we're engaged with our children, we're engaged with our work, we show up, we do what's in front of us, and it's full and we're working. And quite often, the stress, the lack of energy, the lack of passion, it's mingled in there, but because we're so busy with life, we don't really realize it, but we don't really realize that we have a choice, that we can do something different. And so when you go ahead and do the next one, what is my lack of energy costing me? Because it's important to be able to pull back and look at what really is going on here. And when you can get clear on what the costs are, that is actually a good motivator to make a change, to do something different. Number one thing that we lose that lack of energy costs us is passion. Now my little light bulb guy, he's our passion. And it's true that passion can override your lull in energy. When you're excited and happy about something, it can give you that boost. So passion can lead to energy. But if your energy is bottomed out, it's really hard for that passion spark to show up and to engage because we're just too tired. So one of the things that happens, I work with this wheel life, and these are all the environments of our life, and this is a whole little mini workshop I do in and of itself. But I wanted to pull in because we want to look at what does it cost us financially? What does it cost us in our relationships? What does it cost us in our spirituality? What does it cost us for our physical body? And then the big one is, what does it cost us in our relationship to ourselves? To be low energy, to have no passion, to be in this lethargy, and to really look at it. So mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, your relationship with others, and the big one is the relationship with yourself. What I want to talk about is, when I told you I used to be in this spin. And what happened was I finally decided that I could be at choice. And so I decided that when I was tired, I could choose to go take a nap, or I could choose to work. And I just decided it was going to be okay if I took a nap, and it's okay if I choose to work. But I decided to be at choice. Now I'm going to share something with you. I have polycystic kidney disease, and polycystic liver disease. That's what all this is here. One of the symptoms of that is lack of energy, is whatever the word is I wanted to say, when you have no energy. But it's one of those things. And so that was part of my story too, is I didn't want the disease controlling me. And that fed into the circle. But as soon as I just decided I was at choice and I could choose what I want, and it would be okay. Within a month's time, I started taking naps. I started allowing myself to sleep in. I allowed myself to rest whenever I thought I wanted it. And then I continued to work. And within a month's time, I didn't need the rest that I was craving. I was able to sustain. And I very rarely take naps now. And it was just simply removing that energy of the spin and giving myself choice that opened up more energy for my body. So how do you boost your energy and ignite your passion? So what we want to do is I want to take you from your head down into your heart, down into your body. Take you from the ego and the intellect down into your knowing. So first thing I want to talk about is reconnecting to your passion. All of you are where you're at in your jobs, where you're at in your relationships, because you chose to be here. Through the choices that you've made, you're here. And go back and remember the original thing that brought you in. Because we go along and we've been in this relationship for how many years, we've been at this work for how many years, we know these people, and yet sometimes we forget what that initial thing was. So how did you arrive here? There was a compelling draw. There was something that drew you, brought you in. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to do something that was valuable, give back. You wanted to provide for your loved ones. Providing is a very masculine energy to be able to support your family. Men will choose to work at different jobs because they're providers. You decided you wanted to have the experience. This is going to look good on my resume, right? Opportunity. For me, when I stepped in direct sales, it was part of what drew me was this opportunity. There's no glass ceilings. There was a career path, something you could follow. And sometimes you're called. Sometimes there's just this piece that is pulling you in. It's like it resonates. I like these people. I like their ideas. I like this. I'm going to step in. For me, being a coach, I really felt like it was a call. I had all of my experience running a dual entrepreneur household and raising my kids and the ups and downs and all of that. When it came down, and I thought, I think I want to coach. I think I want to do this. Everything that I had experienced, ups and downs, good, bad, and everything, was preparing me to be a coach, especially for entrepreneurs. There is very little that somebody can bring to me that Howard and I have not already dealt with personally. And so it's like it was a calling. It really is. And when I'm in this, I love what I do. I love this interaction, and I love the one-on-one with people. So that is, go back and reconnect. So then we have passion in the process. In the work of living, it's easy really to forget our whys. We forget how good we're doing. We forget how much we're getting done. And we lose track of our own significance. Forging a living is hot, sweaty, dirty work. It doesn't matter how beautiful the job is, it's work. There's going to be those days. There's going to be those people. There's going to be the stuff that has to be done. And sometimes it's stuff that we're really not excited about, but we have to do it. That's life. So you want to look for the growth you have, the honing of your skills, deeper understanding and mastery. Every single one of you have stuff that you do now that's just muscle memory. It's so easy. When at some point in time it was chunky, clunky, and awkward. But through the process of repeating and experience and growing, you're good at it now, right? So to fill the energy tank, you got to stop long enough to celebrate, right? and appreciate yourself for everything. There is a thing that I do with a lot of my new clients. I give them what is called a mirror exercise, and it's just taking time at the end of the day to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, in the eyes, and say, I appreciate you for, and just listing your accomplishments on a day-to-day basis. Filling the energy tank means self-love, self-grace, and that builds self-esteem. The more you can take time to recognize and appreciate yourself for all the little things you do, that produces energy. That builds up. And when your self-esteem comes up, passion can move forward. The next step does not kindle energy to the same degree as acknowledgement of actions taken. You're in the work, right? You're in life, and you're climbing the mountain, and you look up and you think, that mountain top is so frickin' far away. Ugh. But if you turn around and you look back, like, whoa, look where I came from. Look how far up the mountain I've come. That's what that is. Sometimes we can have something in front of us that's exciting and drawing us forward. Yes, absolutely, that happens. But a lot of times we're in the middle and we're doing the work and we're not seeing the results, or we're not creating the progress, or we don't know how many people's lives we have touched because we put our drop here and the waves go out, and there's people that we don't even know that we've made a difference for because we're here. And when we look, and it's just one more thing to do, it's one more thing in front of us, and that gets to be drudgery. But when you can step back and appreciate what you did today and how far you've come, that kindles the energy. Passionate living. Creating space for what you love. So, what activities do you enjoy? What activities fill your heart? I'm going to take a minute and find out where I'm at here.
Doing good on time.
Awesome. Yeah, it feels like I'm talking 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Where are we going? Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. Since I do have time, since things are going, let's go ahead and pull back just a minute, and how is this landing? What kind of thoughts are showing up in your head when you think about what it is that passion and energy means to you? Can you name one thing that says, yeah, this is what I would like to have in my life that says I have energy and passion? What would that be? What would be something that makes life wonderful for you?
I think the feeling of being content, that like I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. My relationships are, in a good place. I love what I'm doing. I think just being content, it's a driving passion for me to be content. I've
Right.
to be content.
Yeah, contentment, fulfillment, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Fulfillment, that's what I was looking for. Yeah,
Good.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then I'm going to go just back through there.
Rick, what about you? I'm curious.
Yeah, as the guy in the room, that's important. Well, no, really.
Seriously,
we need the input.
I would say for me, it's probably helping others.
Yeah.
And whether that's through work at the bank, whether that's at church, whether that's family, friends, whatever the case is, whatever they need, just helping others.
Yeah,
Really good point.
absolutely. Cool. And then what does the lack of energy cost you? What does it cost when we're in this struggle when you're walking through peanut butter? What does that have effect on your life, and where does it show up?
Your mood. Yeah.
Your mood, right? Right?
I have to giggle when you were talking about that. You have conflict with somebody and it carries over even when you're done. Oh my goodness. I have arguments in my head with people, you know, like my sandpaper people. And I'm telling you, that situation could have been a year ago.
Right.
And I'm still having that, oh, I should have said that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And never,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, when it's done, you're like, oh, darn it, I had so much more to say about that. But that, you are so right. And it's funny because we used to tell our kids that too, is that, you know, instead of doing that, you need to think kindly, pray for those people, because what happens is your heart changes, and being nice and kind to those people is like dropping hot coals on their head, because they want to be in conflict with you too, right? So if you switch gears, you know, it's something completely different. But you know, we waste all the energy. Those people have moved on. They don't.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, so the wasting energy, that's one of the costs. Right. For me, when I was in the spin of do I rest, do I not rest, just being in that cost me time. It cost me productivity. Yeah. And Micah, when you're, you know, when we're just in a bad mood because we're just tired. Yeah. How many of us have ever snapped at our kids that it was nothing that they did, but that we were tired, right? Yeah.
Or your kid was tired.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm guilty.
So when you reconnect to your passion, you know, Howard and I have been married 37 years. No, we've been married 29 years. We've been together 37 years. And two things I want to share. When we got together and started dating, my mother did not warn me about men. She warned me about Howard, right? Specifically. And I told my college roommate that it was a fling because it was too hot. It was too heavy. It was going to burn out. Because I knew in my head, you cannot build a relationship based on sex, right? But sex can be a really nice benefit to building a relationship, right?
Sorry, Rick. I'm embarrassed.
So when I look at redefining my relationship and continuing the work of relationship after 37 years, it helps me to go back and remember why I'm in this, because I was passionate about something, because I was a horny teenager, but that led me to this man, this life, these kids, and it was all worthwhile. And so when you go back and you reconnect, why you stepped into this position as a business, why you stepped into this relationship. That's what I mean about bringing forward the passion. Because especially in relationships, if you can go back and reconnect to what was the good stuff, then also that gives you a piece of how to recreate the good stuff. Yeah. So when you think about where, you know, what drew you into, you know, this, you know, I don't even know what you guys do.
We work at Great Western Bank here in Altoona.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a full-time teller, and I'm a PDR there.
Okay. So when you stepped into Great Western, there was something that drew you. It was job, it was money, but also the place is a great place to work. You wanted to work in banking. I don't know. I'm just kind of, you know, making this stuff up. But if you could say one thing that drew you to step into that job, what would it be?
My boss.
Relationship. Yeah. Cool.
Probably just the opportunities.
Yeah. Opportunity. Right. Good. So that's part of the going back and having passionate living. So creating space, that was bringing, reconnecting to the passion that got you started, and then we're looking at passionate living. So you create space for what activities fill your heart, what things excite you, when are you in the zone, what do you relish doing? For me, it's when I'm doing content creation, when I'm writing that blog and it feels like it's a download and the words are flowing and I'm able to just put it out and put it out and put it out and massage it and then bingo. That for me is energy and excitement. I love doing that. So What are the things that you really love doing? What are the things that give you energy? What are the things that put out there? And then, of course, do more of that. Now, how many of you came up with a thought of something that you really enjoy? Inside of work, out in life, doesn't matter where in living, but something that's like, I love it. Yeah? And so when I say do more of that, what's your first thought?
I don't have time.
Right. How? Right. Yeah, that's a nice thought, Christine. That's lovely. We're going to do that. Right? So, but when you can spend more time and get intentional about putting those things in your life, if you can say, yeah, this gives me energy. I'm passionate about this. I'm excited about that. Great. But none of it's actually happening in my life. Pull one down and say, how can I make this happen? I'm going to do a little sidebar. 2 words, how and why. Because you can ask, why is this not in my life? And your subconscious, your brain, is going to go back and pull all the reasons why you're not up to stuff and all the mistakes you ever made, and this is why your life sucks. But when you ask, how can I create that? You send your brain on a totally different path. It's a path of creation. How can I create that? And your brain will start figuring out, well, you could do this, you could do that. So that's what it is. What can you let go of? What can you give up? What can you delegate? How can you create space in your life for these things that give you energy, that you're passionate about? Block off time weekly to have these things. There's one of the tools that I use in my coaching. It's called a Master Weekly Plan Sheet, where I have people put their life into a weekly calendar. And then that gives them an idea of what life looks like and where are the holes or the gaps that you can fill with something that helps you, that resonates with you, that gives you energy, that gives you that time to really just kind of express yourself, right? And then putting it in. And sometimes you got to move the blocks around. And it's asking, do I have to do all of this? Is there somebody else who can pick the kids up? Is there somebody else who can do this running? Can I get help with the laundry? Can I get help with the dishes? Howard and I, one of the things we had altercations about were dishes, right? He was always angry because there was always dishes to wash. We don't have a dishwasher. And right. Yeah, no automatic one. But he was angry because the dishes were always there. And I was angry because it seemed like the house cleaning never got past dishes. Right? And he's whining about this thing. It's like, there's all this other stuff to do. And I don't know, it's been 3-4 years back, finally decided he does dishes. And when it was his job only, he took ownership of it, and if the dishes piled up, he had nobody to be pissed at but himself. And it wasn't as bad because it was his responsibility. He knew exactly why the dishes were there. Totally solved that. And for me to not have to do dishes, then there's laundry and vacuuming gets done and dusting gets done, and that's not my job. So being able to fit the blocks in, what can you shift? What can you move? So claiming energy is awareness. Recognizing when your energy is being drained. When you can realize in the moment what's going on, like when I was doing the tired spin, tired, not tired, shouldn't beaten myself up. At some point I realized what it was costing me. It was costing me a lot of time where I was not productive, nor was I taking care of my body. So I made a change. When you have awareness that my energy is being siphoned off in a fight that keeps reoccurring in my head, right? Then once you have awareness, then you can make choices. You can choose to do something else. Does that make sense? Right. So recognizing when you're in the energy drain. Sometimes you're going to get to the point where you have been in this energy drain to the point where you're like exhausted. You're just laying on the couch, and it's like, I don't care about anything. I don't want, don't touch me, don't talk to me. And then you can ask, how did I get here? And if you can recognize when you're in that, or that you're to that point, sometimes you can backwards engineer it. What occurred over the last day? What's been occurring over the last week? Where am I letting things take my energy? What happened? Was it an argument? Was it just that I feel like I'm the only one who changes the toilet paper roll, right? Right, yeah. And if you can realize when you're in it, when the energy is drained or when your energy is being siphoned off, then you can look at what's going on. If you can recognize that your energy is being drained or you're in this thing, you can do what I call a 2-minute manage. It's simply making a choice. Okay, I'm in this is what's going on. What can I do to support myself right now? Sometimes it means I just need to go outside and go for a walk. Get away from this negative energy. Sometimes it's, can I ask somebody to do something for me? I've got 15 things here. I'm overwhelmed, and maybe it's just a matter of throwing them all on the floor and picking up the one that matters most, the one you can give to someone else, and letting the rest of them just stay there for a while. But when you recognize that you're in this energy drain and can step back and say, this is what's happening, how can I change this? That's the 2-minute manage. And to stay at choice. Realize that so much of what happens and what goes on in our lives is because we are making choices that have got us to this point. Sometimes we make choices because we want to be the support to our kids, because we want to show up well as an employee, because we want to get this accolade, because there's a lot of reasons why we do things. And sometimes those are really good reasons, and sometimes those reasons are just our ego wanting to show off, and the cost is that our bodies are worn out, or that we're crabby to our kids, or those kinds of things. Is any of that landing? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. So claiming energy, the bricks of your energy foundation. Small, consistent actions to build. And this is what, I'm hoping that you'll be able to take something that I said today and pull it out as a piece to use for yourself. So small, consistent. There are water, getting all the water you need. And the way I learned to figure out water is you take whatever you weigh, you divide it in half, and that's how many ounces you're supposed to drink, right? I figured that out, and I am now consistent about drinking my water. The key for me was I do 4 big bottles of water throughout the day, and if I drink the first one when I get up in the morning first thing, the other 3 follow. But getting enough water into your body, resting, allow yourself, good sleep. I go to bed at 10, I get up right now at 5:45. In the winter, it's more like 6:37. But having rest, play, just being able to have fun, laugh, play with the kids, doing something creative, paint, sing, dance, journal, emote, letting those emotions out. I'm out in the country. I live east of Reynolds, Iowa. The gravel road we're on is the dividing line between Southeast Polk and Prairie City, Monroe. We're on the Southeast Polk side. Yay! But there's a lot of road time, right? So I can drive in my car with very little or no traffic, and I can yell, and I can shout, and I can vent, and nobody hears me, and it gets it out of my system. When you are sad, when you are hurt, allow yourself to cry. If you can't cry around other people, go find that alone space to do it. But emote. Emotions need to flow through your body and get out. And when we cap them and we stuff them and we hold on to them, that's when they do damage and they drain us. So podcasts, plug into good positive stuff. TED Talks. look at inspirational quotes, get inspiration on a daily, do a devotional. All these are little tiny pieces that you could pick one and stick into your day, and it's a foundation for building energy. So pick one to implement. Whether it's anything that I just said or it's something that we talked about in some other part of the time today, that's what I want you to pick. And yeah, the big thing is that you deserve to live with passion. You deserve to live with energy. You were built to last. You were built, you have all of the elements in you. You have the skill, you have the talent, and you have the right to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to live a life of satisfaction and significance. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. This in a nutshell. And I did really good on time. We got about 20 minutes left. So just questions, thoughts, anything that you want to just share. I am excited and happy to have the conversation. You got a big grin on your face, Micah.
Great job.
Yeah.
Very good. I would like to comment. I've done one of Christine's free sessions. And I just want to say to people, she is like the Oprah Winfrey of
Yes.
County. And I am not a hard nut. I am a hard nut to crack when it comes to stuff. But she asks the perfect questions, the ones that dig into kind of where you really need to be thinking. And so I've just appreciated her guidance and her coaching and asking those hard questions. I mean, I was surprised by some of the questions, and I was like, how dare you get to that? You know, but it was the reality of, you know, that's something you need to think about, and it really did, you know, create this great space for me to kind of figure it out as to, you know, what my goals were for this year. Because I started 2021 with, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit more about me this year. I'm going to do some things that I wanted to do as far as my health and kind of get more passionate about me. I am also an empty nester. And even though my kids are in their 20s and 30s, you know, you're never not a parent.
Right, right.
But I think, you know, I've never allowed myself to say, you know what, they're adults, for God's sakes. They don't necessarily need me all the time. And so, you know, coming to that realization that that's not your main focus anymore, your big responsibility, that is a kick in the shorts. I'm just going to tell you. And then you have this husband that you've been married to all these years and you don't really know because you've all been into your kids. So, you know,
Right.
there just were some really, I mean, Christine just did a great job, and I just feel like this is a cool opportunity right here with the time that we have left to just sit and kind of maybe even roundtable and talk about some of the challenges that we have, because she really has great questions to help you dig deeper into what you're wanting to figure out.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, everything she said. I bawled twice, and that's how she ever
I've done my job. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's it. Yeah. It's being reflecting on yourself, which you don't do a lot. No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's the same for men too, right? Like you just don't really.
From my perspective, I mean, that was one of those things that, you know, there was everything else going on. Self-reflection was one of those things that came last.
Absolutely.
You know, and,
Right.
you know, one thing I'm going to say to a room full of women, you know, from your significant other's point of view, don't spend all your time on your kids. Because
Right.
if you don't date your husband, you're missing out. Just simply for the fact that, you know, as you mentioned, you know, one of those things that my wife and I try to do is always make sure that we had time for date night. Now, you know, sometimes financially it was we went to McDonald's and paid for a babysitter because we couldn't afford to go out. But at the same standpoint, or, you know, did one of those 2-for-1 specials or something like that. And, you know, but now it's to the point where when it's just us, I mean, I'll be honest with you, she's my best friend. And I wouldn't imagine anything else. And we made a point to do stuff together because otherwise, like I said, if you don't, you'll get to the point where the kids leave the house and you go, who's that guy?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
You have common things, that you like to do. And I say common things, and then maybe things that he wants to do, just like it's from my perspective, I do things that she wants to do, and I'm like, really, we gotta do this? But at the same standpoint, I know that's what she wants.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to, doing what the other person wants.
Yep. And being able to communicate that to each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you're going to go to the chick flick and sometimes she's going to go to the shoot 'em up movie, right? Yeah, right,
I mean,
right.
we would have date nights, like I said, it was cheap, but our date night was Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot to buy something for the house if we had to, get something fixed. So, from that standpoint, but.
I
Yeah.
have to tell you, I appreciate that so much, right? I mean, because we love, and you're probably the secret, we like to brag about our husbands a little bit of our tribe, right? And so to get the perspective from a male figure is it's really cool. Because, we think that you're not thinking like that, right? Did you
Exactly.
I mean, did your husband?
Everything that you said is exactly what my husband and I go through. I mean, probably a couple times a year, because I that's what I do. Like what you were saying, like he works hard. I mean, it was 9:30 and he's drenched in sweat, and he's been at work since 6. I mean, and his shirt is drenched. He's like, it's 9:30 and I look like this. And I'm like, sorry. So every 30 minutes when he sends me a Snapchat, it's just he is. So that's what he does because he enjoys it. But then, I am the mom, so I take care of the kids. I get a phone call from the kid today. I have to talk to the kid. A kid's sick, I take off work and I take the kid to date. That's me, that's my job. But exactly what you're saying, though, is every once in a while, him and I look at him and I'm like, listen, you're here and I'm here. So where can we meet in the middle? And we've had to do that and we've had to talk to each other, and I think our marriage counseling that we had, previous to marriage with our pastor was, he said the same thing. Make time for yourself. Make time for you, which obviously we don't do a lot of because we have 3 children that are various ages and, all of that stuff. But it is 100% true where every once in a while we have to look at each other and be like, we need to get away from our children.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Who can we put our
Yeah.
children off with right now? There's lots of people that would take them.
We need a little support group.
Right, yeah.
That people
Yeah.
we need a date night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have that, and we're very thankful that his mother, my mother-in-law will take our kids. My parents will take our kids. I could leave the kids at daycare and somebody would take them home because that's just the day, So we have those people. But again, it is, sometimes we're like, we're just going to go to the grocery store.
Right, yeah.
We're going to go buy groceries,
And the more intentional you can be about that, because what I hear is that you recognize at some point that you've been here and you need to come back here. What would your life look like if you were more intentional about creating these on a more regular basis?
I wouldn't make it that as much.
Right. Well, yeah, because you'd have because you'd have communication. And one thing about that relationship with your significant other, that is the one that will make or break everything. Whether it's your work, your job, your business, even your relationship with your kids. Everything. That is the primary. Yes, we focus a lot of time and attention on the kids. And that's important. But truly, the spouse relationship is the most important one. And I love that you recognize it and then you make that connection. My encouragement to you would be to have a conversation, see you can actually schedule. If it's not weekly, at least maybe every other week or the first Friday of the month, this is our day or this is our night. And so it happens a little more regularly. A long time ago, I had a conversation with a guy that told me about how incredibly stressed he would get. And he'd go and go until he was at the end of his rope. And then he would go do a meditation. It's what would happen if you actually put meditation regular, even do it once a week. It was his rescue But if he could move it over and actually do it, he might not have to be at the end of his rope. Yeah. And for you, what would it mean to your relationship, not just with your husband, with your kids, and for your life, if you got to have one-on-one time with him a couple of times a month?
I mean, it makes things a lot easier because I mean, he's up before I am in the morning. I wake up, I get 3 kids ready. I and a dog. Well, the dog, I take stand outside for 5 minutes with the dog. And she just wants to sniff. Like, I don't get it. So I mean, I do. I spend a lot of time. My time in the morning, literally, like. The only reason I got ready today was because it was my birthday and I wanted to look nice. So, normally my hair is in a ponytail. And it is. Like, my kids are what I get ready in the morning. As long as they're good and I can get them out the door, I'm okay. Like, they're there. I didn't forget anybody at home. I didn't forget anybody in the car. Like that's a win for me.
Right, yeah.
It is. So being able to have, I mean, even once a month sometimes. I mean, we are 100%. He's work, especially right now. Like they're super busy. I mean, he's probably gonna start working 50-hour weeks. And
it's hard.
And me, I work. I have flexibility, 100%. I do, but it is. I mean, right now, I mean, we have softball all day on the weekends. Right now,
I've been sitting here thinking, and I don't know if that is a guy thing too, but at least from a mother's perspective or a wife's perspective, is that it's for us to think about other people other than or to think of ourselves over other people. It's selfish.
Yeah.
And because you're in it, and you're like, I can't do that. I've got to. They just depend on me for this, and this. And I'm sure that men have that same perspective.
Not as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because society has given those roles to the woman.
My wife would say,
Take on
I grabbed it because it was out there, so I took it on myself. And the other thing was because, I mean, just the way that obviously God designed us, women are nurturers, men are not. I mean, it's just in our DNA. I didn't design that, somebody else did. So it's just the way it is. So, I mean, men can look at things and it's
More technical and logistical.
It's more of a, men look at things in a box, women look at things as the global picture.
Right,
Men are
yeah.
like, here's the box. And I don't know, one of the Christian counselors that I have watched, he's a comedian, Mark Hemsworth, he always says, men are like, okay, we take this box out, and we put this box back in, and then we grab this box. And women will have
67 boxes.
48 boxes. And they know what's going on in every single box. A guy will put one out, put one in. And I'm just going to tell you this, when your husband or your significant other says, when you ask him, what are you thinking of? Yes, there is a nothing box. Absolutely nothing. I'm just going to tell you that. That'll save you a lot of frustration. When he says, I'm thinking of nothing, he's truly thinking of nothing.
Right.
There is a box. That can be opened with something else. We don't have to think about it. I'm just telling you, there is a nothing box.
That is my boyfriend all the time. We're laying in bed, I'm like, what do you think about? And I try not to do that. Literally, he says I try not to think about things, like ever. I was like, okay. Can I switch places with your brain for a minute?
I mean, girls, wouldn't that be awesome if we had a nothing box?
Right.
That's why I have insomnia.
Yeah, probably. You got 48 boxes.
Yeah.
I got like 70 boxes open.
It's like your brain is like Explorer or something like that. You have like 17 pages open, and 3 of them have music, and you don't even know where it's coming from. Like, what's going on right now? Like, I don't know what's happening in my brain.
Right.
Can I just turn it off, or at least turn the volume down? Oh my god.
Yes. No,
This is perfect. I love this because this whole conversation is, those are all the things that we have going on that drain our energy because we have all the Explorer windows open, right? Yeah. And what would it look like to hit those X's and just close some of those down and focus it? Right. Yeah. Right.
Something fun.
Very true.
This is such a really fun conversation. Our women of vision, we're doing a women of vision in September. that's actually, we've got a point counterpoint, we've got a gentleman and a gal that are coming in, they have a talk show on Facebook, and we're actually going to be inviting men. We've always been invited. But it's really these conversations about relationships and why we think differently, because we're made differently. But so if you're interested in coming to that, and your spouse or whatever can come with you, that'd be super fun.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be engaging and really talking about, let's get to the meat of the matter, right?
That would be cool.
Yeah,
having,
super fun.
yeah, absolutely. Neat.
Yeah.
I have this is my personal development training feedback form, so I'm going to hand that around, and any comments you have about the presentation, what I did, what I could improve, I would love to have that from you.
And then don't forget to put your
Yeah, and I'll pass that around. This is a free coaching session.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
Made you cry 2 times. I'm going for at least 5. An emotional basket case.
There you go. All right.
Well, while she's passing that stuff out, I'd like to just give her a big round of applause.
Yeah.
Great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Really, really great, engaging conversation starters for sure. So, thank you guys for being here today. Again, it's summer. Yeehaw, get out and have some fun.
Right, absolutely.
Yay.